Hi everyone, I'm Shaylin with Reedsy, and today we're going to be talking about getting through the 30,000. A lot of you might be doing NaNoWriMo this month, which means that soon you might be nearing the most difficult part of not only NaNoWriMo, but writing a book, at least for many authors, and that's the 30,000s. The 30,000s mean that you're usually getting into the second act. This is where a lot of writers start to both lose energy and lose track of their story. So here are 7 ways to help get your story through the most difficult point, which is the beginning of that second act. Number 1, figure out your theme or character arc. If you've been writing without much idea of your theme or character arc and just kind of discovering those things as you go, it might help at this point to take a bit of a step back and try to figure out the point, the character arc, the thematic point of your book. Sometimes we start to lose steam because even though we might know where the plot is going, we might not know where the character is going on their internal journey, and that's the real fuel for the story. We do have videos on theme and writing a dynamic character, and I will leave links to both of those in the cards. One exercise that I find really helpful for this is actually to write a pitch for your book and imagine that you're trying to sell it to someone. I recently had to do this for a grant application, and I found that I completely discovered the thematic point of my novel just through writing this grant because I had to. It was part of the pitch. I had to give a summary of the plot, and in doing so at the end I had to summarize that and explain what the point of my book is and why someone would want to read it. If you're trying to sell your book to someone in a pitch, you really have to identify what's going to be impactful and important about it, so it can be a really helpful exercise to help you sort that out. Step 2, identify the stakes and conflict. Now, stakes and conflict are huge building blocks of what drives the plot forward, but at this point in the story, some writers can start to lose grasp on those two things. The plot can start to dwindle because in the first act there was so much energy because we were introducing everything, but now we've kind of run out of that and now we have to rely on the conflict we've already set up. Identify your external and emotional stakes and try to continually challenge and raise them. Number 3, introduce a B-plot. A B-plot is a term that's often used to describe a subplot. One reason why the 30,000s in the beginning of Act 2 is so difficult is because you lose the momentum of introduction that you have at the beginning. So, one thing you can introduce at this point in the story is your B-plot. B-plots are often relationship plot lines, whether this is a found family, a friendship, a romantic relationship, an arch-nemesis relationship, it doesn't really matter. B-plots often come in the form of a secondary plotline that affects the main plotline and is usually some sort of relationship development. Step 4, remind yourself what the character's goals are. Now that your character has been thrown into the plot, their goals really need to define so that they can continue to actively pursue them. Identify your character's external and internal goals, so what they want and why they want it. If you know the character's goal, the second act is really just going to be them trying to achieve that. So make sure they're always reaching for it, but continually put obstacles in their way to make it harder and prevent them from achieving their goal. And off of that, 5, make your characters active. A saggy middle of a book can happen when characters stop doing things. It's really boring to watch passive people. We want to see characters who are active in pretty much no matter what the genre is. This could be the quietest, most subtle literary novel or a space opera action adventure book. Either way, we need to see people acting in some respect, or else there isn't really a story to invest in. If you feel like your story isn't going anywhere, make sure your character is making active choices. 6, explore a new world. Many books at the beginning of Act 2 enter some sort of new world. Sometimes this is a physical setting, sometimes it's just a changed state of mind for the character that allows them to see the world in a new way. Sometimes being stuck in the same place can start to slow down your plot because you run out of new places to explore and describe. So if your plot allows it, try to venture into some sort of new world. And finally, 7, explore your character's backstory. If you haven't done a dive into your character's backstory yet, this might be the time to start learning a bit more about them. I will leave a video on writing flashbacks in the cards, but if you haven't had a lot of flashbacks yet, it might be the time to do some dives into your character's past and learn more about them. It can reveal so much about their internal conflict and their goals. It can also give you a bit of a break from the fictive present if you're struggling with that. So those are 7 ways to help get through the most difficult part of NaNoWriMo or of writing a novel. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to subscribe for new videos every Tuesday and Friday. Until next time.